very good afternoon to all of you. This is day 2 of the Singapore FinTech Festival. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We're going to share with you something that's hot off the press, which is SGQR Plus. I believe that Nets and Liquid just released their press releases today, this morning, and I think MD of MAS, Etienne, also spoke about it at his fireside chat today. Now, what is SGQR and what is SGQR Plus? What's the plus mean? So let me share some details with you. Come back to the speakers in a moment. Now, SGQR is a label that you're probably quite familiar with, right? You've been to many merchant shop fronts, you see the SGQR label, you know that when you see the SGQR label, you can make a payment using a QR. Now, but do you know that what happens is that SGQR as a scheme is not interoperable because it is designed to be a basic scheme, basic low-cost scheme, such that when a merchant wishes to accept several payment schemes, you collate all your payment labels into a single payment label, which is convenient for both the merchants, convenient and safe for both the merchants, as well as the consumers to recognize. However, if a merchant wishes to accept many payment schemes, what it actually needs to do usually is that it needs to sign up with a separate merchant acquirer, usually for each scheme. So that is quite a painstaking process. Imagine if you needed to, wanted to give access to your customers for more schemes, like 20 payment schemes. That's a lot of commercial contracts to manage. So SGQR Plus aims to change that for the merchants. SGQR Plus provides an interoperable solutions now under 2 tracks, the Liquid track as well as the Nets track, such that a merchant need only sign up with one merchant acquirer to accept up to 20-something, 30-something, or even more payment schemes, giving us ultimate convenience, which means that you and I, as a payment consumer, when we go to a merchant to make a payment, it's quite often that we can find the payment scheme that we want to use. You use the app or the wallet that you're familiar with without needing to download another application or without needing to fumble in your wallet, if you still have one, to look for cash, right? Because you can use the app that you're familiar with to pay. Now, what we did was that we ran a POC on this, the last SFF. In November, over 1 month, we ran a POC across the Changi district with 450 merchants, and the findings were very positive. Look, if you look at the screen here, you can see that, you know, the transaction volume collectively doubled, the transaction value tripled, and the payment schemes quadruple. It's almost like an M&M rep, times 2, times 3, and then times 4. And these findings were quite positive, which resulted in the merchants, the participating merchants, an overwhelming majority of them, 75% of them, said that they were very keen to continue. Now, enough from me. I think it's time for you to hear directly from the sources as to how these 2 tracks actually work. Nets as a master merchant acquirer and Liquid as a switch. I'm very pleased to bring on stage right now my good friend, Lawrence Chan, who is the Group CEO of Nets Group, on board to share with you more on the Net solution. Lawrence, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. A very good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Thanks for those who have to stand through this. SGQR Plus, as explained by Joe, is something very special, unique, and I would say a privilege for Nets Group to be involved in. Right? In the Nets Group, we have our purpose statement of connecting communities, empowering lives. And the opportunity to participate and be a key player in this ecosystem, we believe, helps us to connect people and empower their lives. SGQR Plus, as explained by Joe, is something which really benefits our merchants and our consumers. And I know there's been a bit of confusion, and maybe if I may just from the onset speak to what I believe is the confusion. The confusion of SGQR Plus. SGQR now is such that every payment QR that we see in Singapore, with the help of MES, also every merchant that displays a payment QR must be an SGQR. Within SGQR, from a technical standpoint, we call it, within every QR there is a payload. So when your bank app or your fintech app scans the payload, scans the QR, it'll be searching for the payload. And as a result of that, each individual merchant that has an SGQR for payments has to sign several contracts with payment companies. With SGQR Plus, at least with the scheme that Nets is supporting with, you only have to sign one merchant contract, and as a result of that, 18 payment options, whether they are domestic or even inbound, can now scan the same QR. Right? So it really makes it much easier for the merchant. And as explained, different payment schemes, we give open access. Right? Open access so that the different merchants, just signing one commercial agreement with us, we can then give you buyers from different payment schemes. We have already done this from a POC standpoint. Even before the POC standpoint, this concept we have actually already started with hawkers in Singapore. So in the Hawker Go Digital program, we have more than 11,000 hawkers today in Singapore who we already have this. So we know how to manage this. This has been done at scale. This has been done a few years, and we are very confident now we can move out from the hawker space into the F&B, into every retailer in Singapore that takes a static QR. We will be offering this. And as mentioned, this gives wider payment acceptance. From a merchant standpoint, the merchant can now take consumers from 18 payment companies. It is seamless for the user, and it is a one-stop reconciliation for the merchant. It can be quite troublesome if the merchant has to sign multiple commercial agreements with different payment companies, as compared to just one, and from that one company give all, that we can now provide all the reconciliation from a payment standpoint. We are ready to go. We have access to a relatively large merchant base given the size of Singapore. As mentioned earlier on, the POC gave us a lot of confidence that this is something our merchants want and our consumers want, and as a result, our FIs and non-FIs who are part of this scheme want this to continue. Today, from a proof of concept standpoint, we have just over 1,000 merchants. By the second quarter of next year, we will ramp up to almost all that we have from a static QR standpoint, which is in excess of 24,000. And on a year-on-year basis, we aim to grow this. So starting from where we are now to where we will be in about 6 months' time or less, we hope to enable about 25,000 merchants to be able to take the SGQR Plus. These are the payment companies whose consumers, as a result of SGQR Plus, can now make a payment at any of our SGQR Plus merchants signed up by Nets. We have 3 new payment companies joining us for SGQR Plus for the full launch. DTC Pay, MariBank, MayBank, to you. In addition, all the other existing payment scheme, local issuers, international schemes can continue to use, not just in the hawkers, but also now in SGQR Plus retailers in Singapore. I mentioned our purpose of connecting communities, empowering lives is what we believe is the aspiration that we have. Through payments, we can really make a difference to the lives of the community that we serve. We believe that with SGQR Plus, we can support our merchants better, give our consumers a better user experience. So if what I've said is not clear, please come to our booth. I'm sure my team will be able to explain this even better than me. We are at 2E223, and if you need any information, you can also contact us by email. I would now like to invite my panel on stage. Miguel. I think it's better to hear from the ecosystem that we are supporting rather than just everything from me, right? So today we are very privileged to have two payment companies, one bank, one non-bank FI, and a merchant here on board on this panel to help explain what has motivated them and why they are here. So maybe before we begin, I'll ask my panel to please introduce themselves.
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm Sukhwinder, so I head up the digital banking for MariBank Singapore.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Etienne. I am actually the country manager for Weixin Pay from Tencent.
Hello, my name is Miguel, and I'm the CEO of a playground company across Southeast Asia called ZOOMOOV. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. So maybe the first question to our issuers, right? First, maybe Etienne and then Sukhinder, you can join. What were the key factors that motivated you to participate in this SGQR Plus scheme?
Yeah. So, thank you, Lawrence, once again for the invitation. So I thought I've prepared quite a long list of answers, but of course the honest truth is, to be very honest, a couple of years back, pre-COVID, when Weixin Pay is expanding out of China and decided to come to Singapore, we were on the lookout for quality partners. So in that regard, to be honest, it was quite an easy decision to join in the SGQR. Because I'm not sure whether any one of you are whether you're familiar with Weixin or WeChat for some of you foreign friends here. So just to clarify a little bit here, for Weixin Pay is actually used by users who actually use their Chinese mobile number registered. For WeChat Pay, it's actually used by foreigners like myself and maybe some of you here who have a non-Chinese registered number. So that in itself, these two are all services operated by Tencent, but it's interoperable. So there is not much of a difference from a user standpoint. And on this regard, I just want to share a little bit about my own experience using NETS. I mean, as a Singaporean growing up, right? So I still remember in the 80s, when NETS first launched or sort of revolutionized the payment industry, I still remember going out with my parents and they were able to use the NETS card without the need to bring cash out anymore. So to me, as a young boy, that was quite magical. And fast forward to today, for Weixin Pay, we operate based on the similar philosophy just about a decade ago. For some of the Chinese here, you can share with your foreign friends about the Chinese tradition of giving red packet, right, or what we call ang pao in Singapore. So Weixin Pay, 10 years ago in 2014, actually started this launching of e-ang pao or e-red packet. So to me, there's a lot of similarity in the path that both companies have taken, which end of the day is about empowering users, creating more value and of course convenience to them. And this is why I guess the key reason behind why today we are very much supportive and part of the SGQR Plus as well. Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks, Etienne. Sukhwinder?
Yes, so I think, Etienne, you really stole the thunder. so maybe I will speak less from an economic perspective, what the business case is for us. But I think more from a slightly higher philosophical perspective, right? So even for the MariBank Group, I think this initiative is very much aligned to our value system about humanizing financial services and also having positive community impact. So I think that forms a key anchor for us. And obviously then this partnership is extremely symbiotic. So then taking that to the next level, obviously I think by virtue of this collaboration and partnership, we're able to empower our users to have a wider acceptance points. So yeah, I think it's really, really commendable. And thanks, Lawrence, for having us.
Thank you. Thanks, Avinda. Next question, and maybe we will start with Miguel first, and for our issuers to join in as well. Quite similar, but more from a value standpoint. What value do you see in being part of SGQR Plus scheme that is run by NETS? If you could share with us, please.
Yeah, I think that is what Joe and you say, Lawrence. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's pretty easy. The value is only one QR code, only one way to pay. So that's streamlining our processes at the shop, because I don't mind where the money comes from. I mind that my staff is worried about how to upsell, how to promote the values of our company, how to inform well about to our customer. So I think that that's it. It's 19 merchants in one QR code.
Thanks. Sabinder?
No, I think very much the same as well. I think even coming from an issuing perspective, but I think that whole ecosystem of solving the pain points for merchants. I mean, you spoke about sales reconciliation. It helps them focus to do their business better and leave all those operational nightmares, aside. And I think that's very empowering. And from a user's perspective, I mean, just having that convenience, I think it speaks volumes. So really, for us, I think it's that liberalization, or I mean, in a way, how technology has helped democratize this across, and I think it's going to be truly empowering for all.
Thank you. Etienne?
Yeah, thank you. So, with regards to the value portion, I thought just to give you all some context. Of course, this is not an advertisement, just a factual sharing. So, for Weixin Pay today, we are actually operating in 74 countries, more than 1,000 partners around the world. We have about 6 million merchants that actually we work with around the world. But those, to me, if you ask me today, is not relevant to what we are discussing. Because I would like to quote a Greek philosopher that most of you will be quite familiar. The whole is greater than the sum of its part, right? So individually, whether is it MariBank, whether is it Weixin Pay, to be very honest, there's a limit on how much we can achieve, right? So that's why we felt that together in SGQR Plus, we can definitely deliver more value to our stakeholders.
I love that quote. Thank you. And Miguel, maybe if I can turn to you, what is your expectations of this, right? You did share that reconciliation is helpful to have won, but from an expectation standpoint, what are your expectations? Do you see that it can be met? And maybe you could just share along those lines. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically when we adopt a new solution, in this case a payment gateway, we're looking first financially, when are they going to pay us, our cash flow, reconciliation, how much is going to eat in our margins, commission, etc., etc. That's important. The second one is, what is the outreach of this solution? Is this going to be a critical mass of people who can pay through this solution? And definitely is. Not only for the Singapore market, but also for the tourists coming to Singapore. It has a great outreach, so that it was great. And the third one is how operationally impact our process at the very end of that is quite critical. So I was today having breakfast in a Prata place that I usually go. And this poor guy, he had 4 terminals. He had the credit card one. Then he had
I'll get the address from you later.
the Deliveroo, the Food Panda, the Grab Food, and then he had a few QR codes. So I always order the same. I order my Prata, my 2 plain Prata, Tose Prata with a masala tea. And today I forgot because maybe I saw all the terminals. Maybe it's that I realized I was thinking about this talk. And I forgot to order my masala tea. And the guy, he forgot to offer me the masala tea because he was focusing on how I need to pay. And then I go to cut my hair after this. This is true, I know that. No. And then I went to cut my hair. Maybe you don't believe I cut my hair today, but it's true. So I went to cut my hair, and we finished, and then they had one payment method. That it was SGQR. So while I was paying, the guy was upselling me about how to become a member, not buy a package, but how to become a member. So he actually got my data because he was focusing on me, not on the payment getaway. And that's really important for us operationally, that we focus on the customer and not on who pay us.
Thanks, Miguel. I really like what you just said, because I keep reminding myself, I keep reminding my team, right? Being in a payments company, payments is 24/7 for us. But really for our merchants, for our consumers, it really should be the last thing on their mind, right? But for it to be the last thing on their mind and yet use payments so frequently, it has to be safe, secure, it has to be resilient. And the user experience has to be so good that it continues to be the last thing on their mind. So thank you for affirming that. And if I can now maybe go to Etienne and then Subinda for the next question, right? How does participating in SGQR Plus align to the goals for Weixin Pay for MariBank, right? So how does it align to the goals? And maybe if you can share what impact you hope that this can have.
So before I go into that, I thought I also wanted to learn from Miguel and share a personal story. This is real, of course. So just last week, I actually hosted some Chinese friends in Singapore. So obviously, being the hospitable Singaporean host, I offered to bring them to the hawker center. So of course, this is where, in under one roof, you get the best of the Singapore cuisine. So when I was bringing them there to one of the hawker center for dinner, again, because it's their first trip, so I actually brought them around for a tour first. And as I was walking around, I was explaining to them the different dishes that I personally like, whether is it the barbecue stingray, the satay, or the barbecue chicken wing, right? So then obviously, I was sharing that in Chinese, right? So as I was walking along, one of the store owner actually looked at me, and of course my friends, and he started saying this in Chinese, 有微信支付. So what he meant is that is actually Weixin Pay. So I was a bit surprised because I was thinking, does he know that I'm from Weixin Pay? Obviously not, right? So in that regard, and I actually, of course, replied him. I said, thank you, uncle. But I asked him, we have not decided, but why did you say that to us? So he was sharing a personal story that he heard from his other hawker friends. That there were instances, there were Chinese tourists who approached them, and actually, when they realized that they couldn't make payment in Weixin Pay, or the payment mode that they want, they just walk away. And the reason that they gave is because they don't have cash. So of course, obviously, this is again, this is not part of the 11,500. That is part of SGQR. So I didn't ask too much of detail, but of course, when I look back into this incident, I thought this subtly encapsulate the value and the impact that we hope to achieve through SGQR Plus. Because we spoke a lot about the value to the merchant, to the user. But we also forgot that from the user, there are different values that we are creating. You are not just solving their payment pain point at a point. You're actually giving them the chance to actually bring back beautiful memories of Singapore. Because the fact that they have a pleasant experience, whether it's at F&B or shopping, and there's this part where sometimes, and we all face it sometimes as well, maybe my mobile phone run out of battery, I don't have an alternative payment mode, and I'll be very embarrassed, right? So if it's a neighborhood store, obviously I can tell the shop owner, hi uncle, auntie, can I come back and pay you later? Yeah, obvious, but that's provided that they trust you, right? So again, to this point about the value, and this is something that I just want to pick on what Lawrence shared about the payment ecosystem, that the value that SGQR Plus bring. Weixin Pay obviously is part of Weixin, right? And Weixin is an app that every Chinese would use in their daily activity. Beyond just the social, so there's chatting, there's mini program, official account, even live streaming, and even channels. So you can see that it actually touches every facet of a Chinese consumer lifestyle, regardless of what they need. And payment to us, or Weixin Pay to us, is beyond payment. It's actually a horizontal that cut across all the different vertical, which Miguel or all of you represent, right? So, and this is very important where in terms of the value that we are trying to bring to our stakeholders. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Etienne. Subinda, please.
Yeah, so I think Etienne, you just summarized my business case as an issue bank. No, but again, I think again, if I could take that same, I think your example, right, and juxtapose it from the lenses of an issuing bank, especially MariBank, right, for context, for some of you here, obviously we're one of the foreign DSIPs. So actually, it's really profound how this actually opens up the market for us. And I think that's the heart of what I'm going to say, right? So payments is actually a very intrinsic component of whether it's a digital strategy, whether it's the business strategy. And I think the ability for us to then use this and build an ecosystem and value propositions for our customers surrounding this, I think is going to be extremely compelling. And I really truly feel that I think this is going to be on set for greater things. So I think for us personally, I think this is a step forward, and I'm looking forward to ride the wave together. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And before we end, maybe one last question for Miguel. From a merchant standpoint, can you share with us your understanding or appreciation of the implementation process for SGQR Plus?
Yes, sure. So I'm not directly involved in the implementation, but I've been following the emails and the internal communications of when we implemented, and it was very popular at that time. Your people, Lawrence, was working so much. But just think about it, if we have other cashless payment through our shop on top of this, but imagine that if I need to get, maybe not 18, because I don't need 18, but 10 solutions to integrate and to be part of 10 different ecosystems. The work to get all these solutions into our shop and to explain to our colleagues at the shop, it will be so much that I will never do. Actually, we are on the opposite way. We are streamlining. We have removed cashless payments that didn't have a lot of spread in Singapore, and so therefore didn't have that much value for us. But yeah, basically the numbers are very clear. If 18 in one QR code. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Miguel, Etienne, Sabinder, thank you very much for sharing with us and looking forward to make SGQR Plus a success. Thank you. And as we walk down stage, we'd like to share with you a video that we have interviewed our merchants.
SGQR Plus aims to simplify and enhance the payment experience for both consumers and merchants.
We participate in this initiative because one thing is seamless. It's much easier for customers to make payment, secure, convenient, and easier way to pay.
The implementation of the SGQR Plus initiative has indeed led to a noticeable increase in customers' engagement and transaction. Customers appreciate the convenience of making payments with their smartphone using SGQR codes.
We observed that after the implementation of SGQR, a lot of customers feel safe and more convenient and confident to make payment, especially the seniors. They are more convenient, more familiar and accepting of this mode of payment.
Well, thank you so much, Lawrence and his commercial partners for sharing the net solution in the SGQR Plus track. Next up, we do have Jeremy. Jeremy Tan is the CEO of Liquid Group to share another track within the SGQR Plus of interoperable QR treatments. Interoperable QR payments. But I was going to say that it was interesting to hear from a merchant just now, CEO of ZOOMOOV. ZOOMOOV is a company that both my kids love so much because the animal rights is what they look forward to like every weekend. And Miguel said that, payments is the last thing you want to think about as a merchant, right? Payment should be simple. It should disappear into the background so that you as a merchant, you can focus on your key business, which in ZOOMOOV and Miguel's business is making children happy through animal rights. And Jeremy also has a QR solution that he'll like to share with you to achieve the very same objective. May I invite on stage my good friend, Jeremy Tan.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for that kind introduction. Okay, so I'm quite lucky at this moment because Joe and Lawrence have managed to explain twice what SGQR Plus is. So I am supposed to explain how we're different. So if you could indulge me, I would like to have one takeaway in terms of what SGQR Plus. It means many, many different payment schemes can now join and be accepted by the merchants. So Lawrence has kindly articulated very, very well what one track is. Now I have to do my part and articulate what my track is. If I have to put it in three very simple mental images for you guys. Our track is what we call the many-to-many track. What we're trying to do is we're trying to open up the system, right? There are different payment schemes. What it means is, you have the different wallets, the different e-payment apps itself. And instead of coming to us directly only and we sign up the merchant, we're opening it up. So what we call it many-to-many, what it means is we're opening up to different acquirers. Now this might be it's an industry term, but some of you might know it. What does an acquirer do? These are the guys that actually sign up the merchants. So this is the difference in our track. We are a switch. We promote many-to-many relationship. That means the wallets that we have can participate with the multiple merchants we have, acquirers that we have. That means we're giving choice to the market. Meaning the merchant now can sign up with multiple acquirers to get that same volume and amount of payment apps. So the competition will begin on the merchant front. Different acquirers will start to reach out to the merchants and they can compare. Competition, hopefully, will drive price optimization, better quality service, and that's the objective of being a switch. That's the one thing you have to keep in the mental mind on our track. And the second bit of it is, you can now use credit cards for QR payments. We will articulate more during our panel, but this track allows credit card-based QR payments. And more importantly, the third part that we do, the part here as well, we were able to do inbound, not just Singapore. The apps that you have today will be able to use outbound overseas. Those are the three things. Many-to-many. You can use your credit card to pay on QR now, and you can use your app overseas. Now, let me start off with a domestic framework. I'm going to freeze here a little bit. I'm hoping the picture says 1,000 words, but I'm going to sort of jump in on this one as well. How does this all work? What does it all mean, really? Effectively, it means if you have an app, like Google, you can use QR payments on a different merchant acquirer by our partners. If you have your Changi app, same thing, you can use it on a different merchant. If you have WeChat or you have MariBank app, you can use it on, guess what? Shopee and Fave merchants. What it means is an app from a player can be used on the merchant of another. Many-to-many. This is the concept of a switch, opening it up for both issuers as well as acquiring partners. This is an academic piece. No, this is the technical piece. Keeping it simple, how do we do this? It's a technology piece a bit. We unify the switching, we provide the switch, we translate the QR, and more importantly, we standardize the rules. The rules are important, and why is the rules important? Because at the end of the day, the merchant needs to be assured that how the disputes, the chargebacks, the customer service that they have to expect from the acquirer, we harmonize that. So different wallets have varying rules, and all of them follow their own SOP. That what we do, as a switch, we harmonize the rules, both domestically and internationally. So from a merchant perspective, if you sign up with an acquirer, you don't have to worry whether a certain app will refund you within a certain day, a certain app will not refund you. All those things are being harmonized, standardized, and you have a single authority, your acquirer, to deal with. So the benefits to consumers is quite straightforward. You just basically can use it in more places, both locally and overseas. That's it. You don't have to change your app. You don't have to say, if I want to pay at this particular merchant, I need to download this particular payment app. Your app now can be used across the participants. So it makes your life a little bit easier. And similarly for a merchant, you can now accept different apps, a bit like what Lawrence was mentioning, multiple apps to be accepted at one merchant. Yeah? And as I mentioned, as we standardize and harmonize all the rules, it's easier for merchants to train their cashiers, their cash points, their waiters, and everybody who needs to know how you accept payment. So essentially, standardizing and hopefully making a life a lot simpler for everyone. So these are the 2 points, many to many, and you can accept credit cards. The little thing that we add in now is we're going overseas. What does this mean as well? Not only will our merchants be able to accept overseas-based app like Lawrence, like Net's Track, they're bringing in overseas. But what we are also doing in our implementation is to allow the participating apps that you have of the players in Singapore to use overseas as well. So that's what we call Roam. I would have loved to be able to use SGQR Plus overseas, but you can imagine, I can't stick a sticker overseas. So we call it Roam. And what does it mean? What's this whole Roam thing? I think most of you are quite understanding, or you can understand the concept of network roam. Even Singtel, M1, StarHub, if you go to Malaysia, you're looking for Celcom, yeah? Maxis. In Thailand, you're looking for DTAC. You're roaming on the national network for your telco. So this is the same idea, roam. If you're on your network today, for argument's sake, I'm just going to use the national Pay Now, because we all know what it is. This is not my SGQR Plus implementation, but if you imagine your Pay Now, if you're in Malaysia, you can't expect to find Pay Now logos, right? But guess what? The national network in Malaysia is called Do It Now. The national network in Thailand is called PromptPay. Yeah? India is called UPI, and etc., etc. So being able to do roam means very soon in the near future, you're able to roam. You're able to go to another country and look for the national network and use your app and scan and pay. Just like how your mobile telco can roam to another network so you can pick up your phone when you're overseas, your payment app that you use in Singapore will follow you when you go overseas. And you find the national network or the payment network that accepts it and use it over there. So this is a concept. So this is our SGQR Plus track, where we are able to not just harmonize and standardize domestically, not only do we bring in credit cards QR payments, we hope to bring you guys overseas as well. So all the tech pilots and onboarding is ongoing. The POC, as Joe and Lawrence has mentioned, started last year. The report came out this morning. And we're very, very pleased to be in this track to continue it on. We will go live sometime early next year. This has been a very exciting year for us. And this will happen hopefully before the end of Q1. Yeah? I'm going to do a couple of things now. Like Lawrence, I'm going to bring up a little posse of my own. I'm going to do this. I'm going to play a video about our clients, talking about what I just said. I will also invite my panelists to come up while the video is playing. So if you guys could come up, and then we will pause the video, and then I'll introduce everybody, and we'll start our own little discussion as well. If I have the video, please, and could you come up?
I'm Gwen from the Changi Airport Group. Changi Pay is Changi Airport Group's payment feature within our Changi app. By participating in Roam QR, Changi Pay does not need to connect to acquirers individually, which will help us enter more markets without the heavy lifting. The implementation of Roam QR represents a significant leap forward to consolidate the currently fragmented QR payment landscape, reducing friction and boundaries limitation. We are glad to be part of the forefront of this payment innovation, and we expect it to bring greater benefits to our users when they are traveling overseas. We will be able to provide more convenience to passengers from other countries, as they will be able to pay for their shopping seamlessly with their home e-wallets in Changi Airport.
I'm Suman. I'm the VP of Product and Design at Fave. Roam QR enables our customers to not only make payments domestically but also globally, wherever Roam QR is accepted, and making payments more convenient and expansive for our user base. Conversely, it allows our merchants to also accept payments from tourists visiting Singapore, reinforces the advantages of interoperability. For customers, QR payment interoperability removes the unknown about which app is accepted at the point of sale. I believe this can drive broader adoption of QR-based payments among consumers. For merchants, it makes cross-border payment acceptance far more affordable and simple, reducing barriers to tapping into a global customer base.
Hi, this is Kenneth Kim. I'm the CEO of GLN International. GLN is the global financial service provider. Our mission is to help travelers to have the right financial tool for the purposes. We have 8 biggest Korean wallets as partners. It means any travelers to Singapore have 1 or 2 wallets of our partners. They already have experiences to pay with QR in ASEAN countries. We want to cover not just Changi Airport, but whole Singaporean markets.
Hi, my name is Pereira. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ping, the better way to pay. We're super excited to join the Roam QR network because Australia is an island, but Australians travel overseas and overseas visitors come to Australia in a way that is very hard to see anywhere else in the world. And so for us, the ability for an Australian to be able to use their Ping wallet seamlessly across any of the corridors that Roam QR supports is a huge benefit. And we believe that it will lead to a much better customer experience where tourists and visitors no longer have to worry about exchange rate fatigue, no longer have to worry about exchanging cash before. They can simply use their wallets as they do locally and make payments seamlessly. Likewise, for merchants right now who pay exorbitant fees on transacting on credit card networks overseas, the ability to use the Ping QR to receive money from visitors overseas is an added boon. And we're excited to see how this adds significant value to our merchant network in Australia and beyond.
Hi everyone, this is Etienne. I'm the country manager for Singapore and regional director for Southeast Asia, Weixin Pay Tencent. So we hope that this particular initiative with Liquid Group can actually help to add value to our common user. Because with all the different multiple partners on board, the value that's created by everyone will definitely bring more convenience to our user.
Can I give my slides? Oh, sorry. Okay, so sorry, I'm gonna then have to introduce, because I had a slide introducing my fellow panelists at the moment. So what I'll do is, there you go, yes. So I'm gonna take this a little bit differently. So what we do is, we've talked about the concept of Roam, we talked about concept of interoperability. And I have with me now 3 very good friends of mine. TG from Google, Natalia from MariBank, and Andrew from EFT Pay. They all represent different parts of the ecosystem. And what I would like to do as a sharing session and let them manage and let them share their views on the system as well is interoperability, cross-border nature and stuff. So I'm going to start with Natalie because Natalie is the CEO of MariBank. And in our Singapore ecosystem, as we all know, there are 4 different groups of financial players. You have the local banks, you have the qualifying full banks, you have the digital banks, and you have the digital wallets. So MariBank is part of, joined our platform to support and, interoperability as well as track 1 and track 2 framework. But if I could just pass the mic or pass the thought bucket to Natalie to talk about interoperability, and in that sense, this track by MAS is amazing, but what are your further inputs from the industry level, if you could? Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Jeremy. So I think, so what I wanted to share is really from MariBank's perspective, as a Singapore homegrown digital bank, it's really important for us to ensure that banking is simple and rewarding for our customers, including the whole payment journey. So I think with SGQR Plus, that's something that will really address that. And if you'll indulge me, Jeremy, I will actually share very specific customer feedback that we've received at the bank, right? So if I can share an anecdote with everyone, and I think some of you may be able to relate to it. So we had one of our customers share with us that they went to a merchant that was displaying an SGQR code, and they were trying to make payment with that. So they opened up the app, and they scanned the QR code, and they found that it didn't go through. So they asked the merchant, they said, can I use my MariBank app here? And the merchant himself wasn't sure. The merchant said, just scan, there's a QR code, just scan. And the customer tried again, and it didn't go through. And the fact of the matter, that's the challenge that we have today with the QR codes and the fact that they're not interoperable. So I think with SGQR Plus, with the fact that now we're able to connect across, I think it will really resolve this pain point for a lot of the customers. So I think that's really key to us. I think the other piece also, I think touching on what Joe had mentioned and also this morning's sort of fireside chat with Etienne, I think we're also very excited to be part of this initiative that will shape Singapore's sort of financial ecosystem. So that's really our perspective on that. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Natalia. So this is a domestic view, but international view. But if you realize when we always talk about SGQR or we talk about wallets and e-payments, you know, there's a very key player that's left out of the discussion, and that's the credit card guys, right? I mean, you scan, you top up your wallet, and you scan and pay. Yeah, you got that, right? You got your bank account, and you scan and pay, right? But if you notice our track, what happens is it allows you to use your credit card, you scan and you pay. And I have it with me, TG, from Google Pay, to actually share his perspective on QR payments, and as well how it relates to Google and how it relates to credit cards, actually. So if you could, TG. Yes.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Natalia. In Google, we want to make payments simple, convenient, safe, and seamless, right? The seamless part, underline it. Customers use credit card, debit cards, e-wallets, bank accounts. Form factors are QR codes, contactless, tap and pay. And customer use it online and offline. So the customer participates in all of these ecosystem plays, right? Why should one form factor not support another form of payment, right? So that's basically the core of all of this. So if I'm coming from a US or an EMEA or Australia into Asia, in all these markets, people are used to taking the phone and just tapping and paying. It's just second behavior, right? But it may not be as prevalent in markets in Asia. So in Singapore, yes, but as you go more and more into Indonesia, Thailand, there are places where you might be able to tap and pay would be much lesser. But why should they not be able to experience cashless, easy payments and seamless payments in that world? So coming from that perspective in Google Pay, which is a container for credit cards, we worked on the SGQR Plus initiative with the Liquid Group to allow these users, irrespective of whether they hold a credit card for a tap and pay product, to change it completely into the ability to scan and still make a payment. So the seamless part takes care of it. We want to offer this solution to everyone who travels around the world. And guess what? Asia is going to probably be the biggest destination over the next 12, 18, 24 months of people coming in across. So as a wallet and as a container of these cards, we find it really important that a user pays like a local, right? People always say payments is universal, but the rails are hyper-local. We want to work with partners in the ecosystem actually to break that myth and allow the people to pay even in a hyper-local way.
Thank you, TJ. I think you explained it way better than I did. So, exactly. So, from a scheme wallet perspective, you can imagine now, you can scan and you can pick your scheme cards. Notice I'm not using the scheme brand, but you know which ones are on it. So when you scan, you don't necessarily have to be a bank account. You can use your credit cards or your debit cards to pay. I think that's a major breakthrough. And now I have with me as well Andrew from EFT Pay, a CEO. He's based in Hong Kong. He's one of our partners for many, many years. And he's an acquirer. And he drives, and he's one of our key partners to drive the overseas expansion of these wallets. So I'm going to hand the thought leadership to Andrew.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm in the payment industry for 28 years. Actually, I'm a programmer studying like coding on the payment device, and then until today, I have two companies and I'm an entrepreneur. I have EFT solution and EFT payments, and as Jeremy mentioned about, we are acquirer in Hong Kong. And a couple of years ago, Jeremy found me, and I met him in Singapore. I remember we met in the coffee shops, and we talk about that QR code payment. Actually, my second entrepreneur company, EFT Payments, this is the one that processed the first Alipay payment, which is 10 years ago, back in 2014 January. And we processed the WeChat Pay first payment back in 2015, cross-border payment, I call it. And when I met Jeremy, I heard, oh, I like it. I want to do this. This is the first time. Like I can help, process the overseas, cross-border payment in Hong Kong for you. I mean, now, you guys renamed the name called Roam Pay, right? I mean, before it's like the Roam QR, before you still call Liquid Pay, right? So for me, as a local in Hong Kong, I really want to bring a really good experience for the traveler. I think a lot of Singapore people, they like to Hong Kong and eat the wonton mee, the char siu fan, right? Yeah, so I really want to do this. So the seamless transactions, like Jeremy's doing it really right. Is you find the local partners, we deploy really quick, very solid. Because my merchant in Hong Kong, I provide a really seamless solutions to them. So if you pop up your phone, like do the QR code payment like Alipay, WeChat Pay, Yulin Pay, QR, Bank of China Pay, or the other, you just very seamless. Like just open the phone and scan, or or consumer scan, or consumer present, that mode, and you just only find like couple seconds, you finish a transaction, and you see all your transaction on the mobile, right? So from my experience, like in the before, card payment, like chip card payment, contactless payment, now is all we call alternate payment mode, which is like the e-wallet payment, all right? So yeah, I'm very excited. As soon as things like we are on testing stage, right? So I'm very excited that that function can be deployed in Hong Kong and allow, the other overseas people can visit Hong Kong and they can use it, Roam QR to present and pay easily, all right? And as I said, I don't have cash. So in here right now, I only able to pay by cards. How can I pay by other means that will be come to next, Jeremy can help, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, so, wow, that's, again, thank you guys. This has been wonderful. So just for me to, as we're closing up this conversation, in our track, I would like to re-emphasize again, interoperability domestically, which is many to many, and Natalia and her team and the other participants have kindly joined us. We do credit cards, as portrayed as what TG has mentioned. We can allow credit card payments on QR now. I can't imagine, I would like to shout it from the top of the mountaintop. That's a big deal. You can scan cross-border domestically to use your credit card to pay on QR. And more importantly, as Andrew has kindly articulated, you can go overseas. We're partnering in different markets, as you can imagine, not just Hong Kong. We have that on one of our slides with different flags. We will announce it progressively over the weeks and months ahead. And we want to say thank you for this opportunity, MAS, and thank you for all of you being here, and thank you, all three of you, for being here with me as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.